I'm going to play this clip. Others have probably seen it perhaps on Jackson's show, but before we commentate it, so let's check this out.
I watched 2 minutes of
So
Kyle, but
I'm going to play it for you as well. As we play it for the listeners and viewers, I'll just play it for you here as well.
Here's what I would do immediately. The Nord Stream 2 pipeline is axed. It's not happening anymore. I would tell Germany, look, you're going to get U.S. natural gas, and you're going to get it at the same price you were getting Russian natural gas for. We're going to sell it at a loss. We know that we're going to lose money on it, but we don't care. U.S. taxpayers will subsidize it. This is to undercut Putin and his government, and this is, of course, to send a message that you can't just invade sovereign countries. So no more Nord Stream 2 pipeline. The other thing I would do is sanction oligarchs. Now, that's a big difference. I would not invoke any sanctions that hurt Russian civilians, because this isn't their fault. Don't blame them. They're people just living their lives trying to get by like anybody else. But I would specifically sanction oligarchs. There's certain economic sanctions you could do. There's freezing of bank accounts and whatnot that you could do with Russian oligarchs. I definitely do that. The other thing I do is, look, Azov battalion aside, I would do everything I can. I talk to President Zelensky, say you got to axe the neo-Nazis in the ranks of the Azov battalion. They're horrendous. They're evil. They commit war crimes. NBC was doing a puff piece on the Azov battalion the other day. Absurd. But I would talk to Zelensky, tell him to purge his ranks of neo-Nazis, but as long as we're not arming the Azov battalion, I have no problem arming Ukraine in general, so that they could protect themselves from Russian aggression. And then outside of that, you meet with world leaders to make contingency plans.
Okay, wait.
I think you might do a better job than articulating it than me for now, so I'll be quiet for a second.
When we are doing our show online, I try not to be too disrespectful to secular talk usually, because it was a channel that on YouTube, when there was nobody covering a lot of issues surrounding Iraq war or extremist Christians in America. He was a young man who was, I think, 20, very early 20s. He was there. He was doing that. He put himself out there, whatever. So, okay, put that aside. I'm sorry, but I have to go. Like, this is really making me angry. And how can you be so stupid? How can you be so goddamn, like, you're 16? This is like you're 16. This is me during, like, first George Bush presidency. Like, I mean, you're a child. You're a child. I mean, let's go through some of the suggestions.
Yeah. So the first one is the pipeline.
Axe Nord Stream 2. I love the fact that any pretense that Germany has an independent government has been dropped now. America can tell Germany that, axe that pipeline, fuck you. Like, it's Germany, independent nation.
I love how he starts with that one at first. It just kills me. And then he's like, we'll supply them with our liquefied natural gas. Subsidized price.
Wait. No, let's, I want to break this down. Yeah, so cut Nord Stream 2, as if, America, but is that any different from, by the way, George Bush telling Saddam Hussein we should have access to all your military sites? I mean, and they pretend, these guys, and that's why I have a big problem with most of the people on the left. At the end of the day, they are not leftists, they are nationalists. They are nationalists. They think they're leftists because they want better services for themselves. They want a better infrastructure. They are not really, they don't understand history or what is left or what is right. They just want better infrastructure. That's all they want. But anyway, so cut off their pipeline. What was the second one?
So the first one is cut off the pipeline, and hold on just 1 second. Then he goes into this childish thing where, like, the US will supply them as if that's possible. The gas is different, it comes from somewhere else, and will subsidize it. So anyway,
I love that. American public is now, besides defending
how
Germany,
unrealistic that is. Then the second one is that you sanction the oligarchs, but let's not hurt the normal Russian people. I mean, that's the whole argument around sanctioning, right? This kind of targeted sanctioning does not exist. Like, if you sanction oligarchs, that probably means they run X and YZ business, which probably means that unfortunately trickles all the way down.
Exactly. That's what America does with Iran. You think they say they are sanctioning Iranian people?
Yeah, they're not sanctioning Sam.
They're not sanctioning me.
Well, they're not sanctioning you directly. That's the thing.
Exactly. But when they sanction one of the biggest of the biggest importers of medicine in Iran, then children will die of cancer.
Yeah.
You fucking idiot.
I mean, he says like, freeze their bank accounts like
First of all, American people should subsidize European energy now, besides subsidizing their it's not just a protection racket. Now we're gonna have to give them I'm not American, but whatever. But secondly, no, not the Russian people, targeted at oligarchs. By the way, I highly recommend, if there is any good content came out, was Matt Taibbi talking to again the lady, I forget her name, Russian expert, Katrina.
I haven't seen that, so I don't know. Okay.
The same lady a couple of weeks ago. She and Matt Taibbi talked about that, and she made a good point that some of these like the sanctions they put on oligarchs is exactly what Putin wants, because they want to they've been trying to repatriate all the money these oligarchs have stolen and taken out of Russia. They want to bring them back, so it kind of plays into Putin's hand in some ways. First, and all sanctions have always proven they make the state stronger, they make the people they claim they're sanctioning stronger, and they make the civil society and normal people, weaker people will die because they can't get. I've seen people spend their whole life savings on one dose of a cancer treatment. That's what happens when you sanction. And by the way, Russia has been sanctioned somewhat, although the new sanctions that they brought in, the UK and Americans one, are just fantastic in their impotence. That's why I think the Anne Applebaum article is it's like a AA meeting for all the for all the people losers, because they know they can't do shit, because they can't even do sanctions. Just idiotic to suggest American people should subsidize the energy of Europe. Like,
do you remember the third one? That's even more childish. So the third one is that he goes to the Ukrainian president, and that's his name, right? Because I don't know his name, so I can't say it again. And tell him to get rid of all the neo-Nazi associated people. Yeah, but look, during war, he's like, I have 5 guys. You want me to remove 4 of them? I mean, I don't know what percentage.
No, it's just this type of idiot don't know how war or politics. Do you think Zelensky is even in charge that much? Like,
true, exactly.
Who do you think he is? Like, Zelensky, be a good boy. No more Nazis. And he's like, okay, Nazis go home. And Nazis are gonna be like, okay, they said Zelensky said go home, guys. Let's go home. Man,
I think the fact that Kyle kept on saying, idiot? I would do this, the fact that he kept on using, I don't know, the I pronoun just shows, I don't know, how childish and kiddish this whole thing is in his head. At least this part. I mean, I'm not saying he's a child. I mean, he has very insanely good sober takes on a lot of domestic things and other things. But I mean, you don't need to know the history of anything to be like, this just sounds like something a 5-year-old do. It's like coming up with a basketball game and you're playing against, like, you have little kids who'll be like, okay, it's very easy. You just throw it up in there and then he's going to lay it up and dunk it in. I'm like, okay, I mean, based on the guys on my team, is that possible? if it's possible, we'll do it.
Come here. Let me give you advice. Buy low, sell high.